See this woman, Zina, standing outside somebody's gate with a basket of other people's clothes on her head. After everything, after the boutique, after the Instagram page with 12,000 followers, after the business cards that read Zinachi Obi, CEO, Zuri Collections. After all of that, this woman is now washing somebody's bed sheets for 2,000 naira. Lagos is not a city. Lagos is a judgment. Now, to understand Zina's story, you have to understand where she came from. 3 girls grew up together on the same street in Surulere: Zina, Kike, and Bola. If you saw those 3 girls in their university days, you would think God had already signed their success letters. Always sharp, always loud, always planning big. Kike was the organized one, the kind of girl who had a 5-year plan typed out in Excel before Excel was even popular. She wanted a good husband, a good house, good investments, simple, structured. Kike didn't play. Bola was the ambitious one. That girl breathed corporate. She could talk her way into any room and out of any problem. By 26, she was already in a bank with a title long enough to tire your eyes reading it. Bola carried her ID card like it was a Grammy award. And Zina? Zina was the dreamer. Not the lazy kind of dreamer, the dangerous kind, the kind that actually does something. At 24, she opened a small boutique in Yaba, selling fabric and ready-to-wear. Nothing big, a borrowed shop, a few designs, Instagram photos she took herself with a phone that kept overheating. But the girl had eye, she had taste. And slowly, people started coming. For 3 years, Zuri Collections was a real thing. Customers from Lekki drove to Yaba to buy. Influencers tagged her page. She hired 2 girls to help her sew. She was paying rent, saving small, and smiling every day like someone who had finally found their footing. Then, the landlord tripled the rent. The exchange rate broke her supply chain. One of her staff stole her inventory, full bags of fabric, and disappeared to Abuja. Her main supplier increased prices without warning. Then, her biggest client cancelled the bulk order 3 days before delivery. Everything collapsed in 8 months. Not slowly, suddenly, like a building that looks fine until it doesn't. She closed the shop quietly on a Tuesday morning, packed her sewing machine into a corner, and sat in her room for 2 weeks not talking to anybody. That silence, nobody talks about that kind of silence. The one that comes after you have tried your best and your best was not enough. Rent was due, her younger sister's WAEC fees were due, her mother's shop was struggling. There was no backup plan because the boutique was the backup plan. One evening, her mother came and sat beside her on the bed. She didn't say anything for a long time. Then, quietly, "Zina, we have to do something." Zina already knew what that meant. The next morning, she wrote her name and number on a small paper and pinned it to the notice board near the church junction near their house. Zina, washing, ironing, house cleaning. Call for rates. Her mother stared at that paper for a long time. Then she went inside without saying a word. And that was how it started. The Lagos sun does not sympathize with anybody. Every morning before 7, Zina was kneeling beside somebody's bathtub or washing machine, scrubbing, sorting, ironing other people's lives into neat, folded piles. Some clients were kind, some were not. One madam in Bagada used to call her the wash girl in front of her children. Another one in Magodo forgot to pay for 3 weeks and acted like Zina was the one owing her. And the comments from people who knew her before, those were the ones that entered differently. Is this not Zina that had boutique? Life. See her hand. She used to be posing for photos with fabric. Now she is washing somebody's boxers. Village people don't need to live in a village. They move to Lagos too. Meanwhile, life was very much going on for Kike and Bola. Kike had married her structured husband, an engineer who worked offshore and deposited money into her account every month like clockwork. She posted every school run in a clean SUV, every anniversary dinner, every family holiday. Her life looked like a Hallmark movie if Hallmark movies were set in Lagos Island. Bola had been promoted twice. She now had an office with her name on the door and a salary she never mentioned directly, but you could calculate it from her shoes. But Zina quietly began to notice things. Kike had stopped laughing the way she used to. Not real laughter, just small, polite smiles, like someone managing tiredness. And Bola? One afternoon, she called from Dubai, talked about herself for 5 minutes, then paused too long before asking, "How are you doing?" Zina recognized that pause. Pity dressed as courtesy. She answered fine and ended the call quickly. Then, one Thursday morning, everything changed. Not because of luck, not because of connection, because of character. Zina was finishing a job in Omole Estate when she heard a small voice from the compound next door, crying. Not the casual cry of a child who wants biscuits, the kind of crying that makes something in your chest stand up. She looked over the fence. A little girl, couldn't be more than 5, sitting alone on the ground outside a locked gate. No shoes, sweating, clutching a small school bag like it was the only thing in the world that belonged to her. Zina dropped her basket. She knocked on the gate. No answer. She called to the child. The girl was shaking. Zina didn't think too much. She went to the estate security, raised alarm, and stayed until someone located the family. The nanny had abandoned the child that morning. The little girl had been sitting outside alone for almost 2 hours in the heat. The father arrived 40 minutes later, a quiet, serious man. He looked at his daughter, then at Zina, and just said, "You stayed with her." It wasn't a question. She was frightened. I couldn't leave her. The man nodded slowly. He tried to give her money. She refused. He asked for her number anyway. She gave it without thinking much of it. She picked up her basket and went back to work. That was all. What Zina did not know, could not have known, was that the man's name was Mr. Adeyemi Koka, and he ran one of the largest facility management and commercial cleaning companies in Lagos. He was also, as Lagos people say, a man who remembered things. 6 weeks later, Bola sent a message to the group chat. "Did you see the Guardian feature? Is this not Zina?" The headline read, "Koka Facilities launches Women Empowerment Division, names first head." The article said that Mr. Koka, moved by a personal experience with a stranger who showed uncommon integrity, had decided to formalize a division of his company specifically to train and employ women rebuilding from economic setback. The first person he recruited to lead it, the same woman who had stayed with her daughter in the heat without asking for anything, was a former boutique owner named Zinachi Obi. Zina read the article 4 times. She was still on her knees on someone's bathroom floor when she read it. Kike called within the hour. Bola called 3 minutes after. Neither of them knew what to say at first. Then Kike, in a voice much smaller than usual, "Zina, I'm sorry I went quiet. I didn't know how to talk to you after the business. I felt I didn't want you to feel pitied, but I think I just disappeared instead. Bola said, I called you from Dubai to show off. I knew it when I was doing it, and I'm ashamed. The three women stayed on that call for a long time without saying much. Then, Kike said something nobody expected. I have a perfect-looking marriage. I am lonely every day. Bola laughed, not from happiness, from relief. The kind of laugh that comes when you have been holding your breath for too long. I have a corner office. I cry in the bathroom every Monday morning before my team gets in. Then, Zina said the thing that none of them forgot. We were all so busy performing success that none of us stopped to ask if the person performing it was okay. Nobody spoke after that because that sentence had their whole story inside it. All the Instagram posts, all the awkward pauses, all the calls they didn't make, all the pride that felt like protection but was really just distance. Zina never became special because her business collapsed. She became special because the collapse did not collapse her character. She still helped a frightened child when she had work to finish and money to count. She still refused payment when her instinct said, this is not about money. She still showed up every morning, basket in hand, Lagos sun on her back. Sometimes the road back is not the road you planned, but if you walk it without losing yourself, it will take you somewhere truer than where you are going. Thank you so much for watching this story to the end. If this story touched your heart, please like the video, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a story like this. And tell me in the comments, at what point in Zina's story did something shift inside you? I will be reading every single comment. I'll see you in the next one.